don't think you...
Before Tesla made self-driving cars mainstream, before Siri became our pocket assistant, there was KITT, a wise-cracking Trans Am that made every other vehicle look like a paperweight. This wasn't just a car, it was the ultimate 80s power fantasy brought to life. Knight Rider gave us something we didn't even know we wanted. One guy, one impossible car, taking down bad guys while looking like he stepped out of a cologne commercial. KITT wasn't just smart-mouthed, he was loaded with more tech than NASA and had enough attitude to steal every scene. It was high-speed action, buddy comedy, and pure 80s cheese that somehow worked perfectly. The show was already showing us what the future of driving could look like, decades before anyone else caught on, if it came with unlimited sass and zero traffic laws. Today we're diving into 15 Knight Rider facts nobody talks about that'll change how you see the show, even if you've watched every episode twice. Number 7 is the real kicker. You probably know who voiced KITT, but wait until you hear what he actually thought about the show. Love retro TV and nostalgic deep dives? You found the right channel. We dig into the untold stories from the golden age that gave us the best television ever made. Hit like and subscribe and let's dive in. Number 15. The voice box was fake. See that red scanner thing that lit up when KITT talked? Total movie magic. It had nothing to do with William Daniels actually speaking. Some poor crew guy was standing there mashing buttons, trying to time it right. Sometimes it worked, sometimes KITT looked like he was having a seizure. The voice box was actually called the anamorphic equalizer, and it became one of the most recognizable visual elements of the show. The production team installed multiple sets of LED lights in different KITT cars, but they were all manually operated. During post-production, editors would often have to go back and re-time the flashing to match dialogue that had been changed or re-recorded. The inconsistency was so noticeable that some episodes show the lights flashing completely out of sync with KITT's speech, creating unintentional comedy moments that fans still point out today. Classic 80s TV magic. If it looked good enough on your fuzzy television, it was good enough. The technology to actually sync audio and visual elements automatically existed, but would have cost the production significantly more money. Number 14. The Hoff Was Too Tall. David Hasselhoff is 6 feet 4 inches, and Trans Ams weren't built for giants. They had to gut the driver's seat and rebuild it lower so his hair wouldn't get crushed against the roof every time he got in the car. Even then, you can catch him ducking in some scenes. The modification work was extensive and expensive. Production designers had to remove the original seat mounting system and create a custom platform that sat nearly 3 inches lower than factory specs. This created problems during action sequences because Hasselhoff's eye line was now below the steering wheel in some shots, requiring camera angles to be adjusted constantly. The costume department also had to work around the height issue. His signature leather jacket had to be specially tailored to look right when he was cramped into the modified driver's position. Nothing ruins a cool entrance like knocking yourself out in your own car. The production went through several different T-top configurations trying to find one that would accommodate Hasselhoff's height while still maintaining the car's sleek profile. Number 13. KITT was almost a Camaro. Picture KITT as a Camaro with racing stripes instead of that sleek black Trans Am. That alternate reality almost happened. General Motors came to the table with multiple options, and the Trans Am wasn't even the obvious choice at first. The decision came down to 3 finalists: the Pontiac Trans Am, Chevrolet Camaro, and, surprisingly, the Corvette. GM was eager to get product placement in a major television show and offered significant financial incentives for each option. The Trans Am won because its wedge-shaped design and distinctive front end gave it a more aggressive, high-tech appearance that fit the show's futuristic concept. The black paint scheme was specifically chosen to make the car look more menacing and mysterious, and the production team added custom ground effects and side panels that weren't available on regular Trans Ams. Somewhere out there's a world where KITT was a Camaro cracking jokes with racing stripes. Weird to think about. The Corvette option was apparently rejected because it looked too expensive and might have made Michael Knight seem less relatable to average viewers. Number 12. The theme song came from classical music. That theme song we all remember? It's based on some old French ballet music. Composer Stu Phillips took Marche et Cortège de Bacchus from Léo Delibes' ballet and threw some synthesizers on it. Boom, instant 80s gold. Phillips was a veteran TV composer who had worked on Battlestar Galactica and other Glenn A. Larson productions. He was specifically instructed to create something that sounded both classical and futuristic, leading him to dig into 19th century orchestral pieces for inspiration. The synthesizer work was cutting edge for television at the time, using a Fairlight CMI and other expensive digital equipment that most TV productions couldn't afford. The theme became so popular that it was released as a single and actually charted on radio stations across the country. KITT wasn't just high-tech, he was classy too. The full orchestral version used in the opening credits cost more to produce than most entire episodes of competing shows, but it became one of the most memorable TV themes of the decade. You've hummed that theme song randomly, haven't you? We all have. Some songs just stick in your head forever. Number 11. KITT's scanner came from Battlestar Galactica. That red scanning light on KITT's nose? Straight stolen from the Cylons in Battlestar Galactica. The same creator, Glenn A. Larson, who made both shows and just recycled the effect. If you ever saw those silver Cylons with their creepy red eyes, you know exactly where KITT got his look. Larson was known for recycling successful elements across his productions, and the Cylon eye effect was one of his favorites. The original Battlestar Galactica scanning effect was created using a combination of fiber optics and rotating mirrors, but for Knight Rider they simplified it to a series of LED lights that could be controlled more easily. The red color was specifically chosen because it photographed well under the lighting conditions used for most of the car scenes, and it created a distinctive visual signature that made KITT instantly recognizable even in wide shots. KITT still looks cooler than most robots today. That's saying something about 80s design. The scanner became so iconic that it influenced real automotive design, with several car manufacturers incorporating similar lighting elements into concept cars throughout the 80s. Number 10. Evil KITT had two different voices.
May I present our preliminary target?
KARR represented everything KITT wasn't. Same sleek exterior, but completely selfish programming. As the original prototype, KARR had one critical design flaw. He valued his own survival above human life. Wilton Knight couldn't destroy his technological breakthrough, so he sealed KARR in storage and tried to forget his first creation existed. When thieves broke in years later and woke him up, KARR needed to sound scary. They got Peter Cullen first, then switched to Paul Frees when he came back. Basically, KARR was what happened when you gave a car trust issues. The character of KARR was created to explore what would happen if artificial intelligence prioritized self-preservation over human welfare, a theme that was surprisingly sophisticated for an 80s action show. Peter Cullen, who voiced the character initially, was already famous for voicing Optimus Prime in Transformers, and his deep, authoritative voice gave KARR a genuinely menacing presence. When Paul Frees took over the role, he brought a more theatrical, almost Shakespearean quality to the character that made KARR seem both sophisticated and dangerously unstable. Were you Team KITT or Team KARR? KARR was kind of a badass. The episodes featuring KARR consistently rated higher than average and became some of the most remembered installments of the series. Number 9. The Trans Am couldn't actually perform. Here's the funny part. NBC picked the Trans Am without checking if it could actually do the stunts. Those early 80s Trans Ams were dogs, slow, clunky, handled like garbage trucks. The test drives were disasters. The 1982 Trans Am that served as the base for KITT was powered by a weak 305 cubic inch V8 that produced only about 145 horsepower, barely enough to get the heavy car moving, let alone perform spectacular stunts. The handling was so poor that stunt drivers initially refused to attempt some of the more demanding sequences. The cars had a tendency to oversteer dramatically. The brakes were inadequate for repeated hard stops, and the suspension couldn't handle the stress of jumping without major modifications. Jack Gill, the stunt coordinator, basically had to rebuild every car from scratch. New engines, suspension, everything. They built 15 different KITT cars just to make the show work. Each car was specialized. Some had reinforced frames for jumping, others had enhanced handling for high-speed chases, and several were built specifically to be destroyed in crash scenes. The hero car used for close-ups had the most complete interior and was rarely used for actual driving. Every cool KITT scene you saw took a team of mechanics and a lot of prayer. The production burned through tires, brake pads, and transmission components at an alarming rate, leading to constant budget overruns in the automotive department. Number 8. Hasselhoff wasn't NBC's first choice. NBC wanted a bigger name for Michael Knight. They talked about Gil Gerard from Buck Rogers, maybe Rick Springfield. Hasselhoff was just a soap opera guy from The Young and the Restless back then, but he had the right look and could make a leather jacket seem natural. The casting process took months, with dozens of actors screen testing for the role. Gil Gerard was seriously considered because of his success in Buck Rogers in the 25th century, and network executives thought his sci-fi experience would translate well. Rick Springfield was attractive because he could bring a built-in music audience to the show. Other actors reportedly considered included Jan Michael Vincent and even a young Tom Selleck, though scheduling conflicts ruled out most of the bigger names. Hasselhoff's soap opera background actually worked in his favor. He was comfortable with the quick shooting schedule television required, and he had experience memorizing large amounts of dialogue quickly. His chemistry with the KITT car was apparent from his first screen test, where he had to deliver lines to an empty car and make it seem natural. One smooth move with the sunglasses and TV history was made. The signature sunglasses move wasn't scripted. Hasselhoff improvised it during his audition, and the producers liked it so much they made it part of the character. Number 7. KITT's voice actor thought the show was ridiculous. William Daniels voiced KITT, the same guy who later played Mr. Feeney on Boy Meets World. He wouldn't let them put his name in the credits because he didn't want to be known as the car guy. Get this. He thought the whole show was silly and didn't think it would be a hit. Daniels was already an established stage and screen actor when he took the KITT role, having been nominated for Emmy Awards for his work on St. Elsewhere. He viewed the Knight Rider job as easy money, a few hours in a recording booth each week for a substantial paycheck. He initially refused to do publicity for the show and declined most interview requests because he was embarrassed about being associated with what he considered a children's program. The recording process was unusual for television at the time. Daniels would record his lines alone, listening to the other actors' dialogue through headphones and responding to their pre-recorded performances. This isolation actually helped create KITT's distinctive speaking style, formal, slightly detached, but with perfect timing. Daniels later admitted that the separation from the other actors made it easier for him to maintain the character's artificial intelligence personality. Daniels recorded all his lines alone in a booth, never meeting the other actors. Maybe that's why KITT always sounded smarter than everyone else. He eventually warmed to the show when he realized how popular it had become, especially with younger audiences, but he maintained his stance about not wanting screen credit throughout the original run.
How come you didn't fire?
I don't write people off, Mr. Matthews.
You're a good teacher, Mr. Feeney.
Before we continue with the rest of these facts, do me a favor. If you're learning something new here, hit like and subscribe. We've got tons more retro TV content coming your way. Now let's move on with number 6. KITT sang a love song. This really happened. Season 2 episode called Let It Be Me. Michael goes undercover in a rock band because apparently you couldn't just solve crimes in the 80s, you had to rock out too. KITT ends up serenading Michael's ex-girlfriend over the radio. The episode was written specifically to showcase a different side of KITT's personality and to explore the relationship between artificial intelligence and human emotion. William Daniels had to learn to sing in character, working with the show's music director to develop a singing style that sounded appropriately robotic while still being melodically pleasing. The song KITT performed was specially written for the episode and became surprisingly popular with fans, though it was never released commercially. The premise required Hasselhoff to demonstrate actual musical ability, which worked well since he had recording aspirations of his own. The episode featured several musical performances and gave the writers a chance to explore what would happen if KITT experienced something analogous to romantic feelings. It was one of the more experimental episodes of the series and showed that the writing team was willing to push the concept beyond simple action-adventure stories, because nothing says romance like having your car handle your relationship problems. The episode actually received positive reviews for its willingness to try something different, though it was also mocked for its somewhat ridiculous premise. Number 5. Turbo boost was all fake.
Don't think you...
That turbo boost button. Complete Hollywood magic. All those impossible jumps used hidden ramps, catapults, and slow-motion tricks. If you freeze frame the right moments, you can actually see the ramps hiding behind bushes. Check out the Slam and Sammy stunt show episode. There's a ramp right there by the fence. The stunt team developed an elaborate system of concealed ramps, pneumatic catapults, and carefully calculated launch angles to create the illusion that KITT could jump incredible distances. Most of the ramps were built into the landscape or hidden behind strategically placed objects like hay bales, barriers, or even fake rock formations. The production crew would spend hours preparing jump sites, ensuring that camera angles would hide the mechanical aids while still capturing the spectacular action. The turbo boost sound effect was created by combining several different audio elements: jet engine sounds, electronic whooshes, and synthesized tones. The button itself was completely non-functional. It was just a prop that lit up when pressed. In reality, achieving the heights and distances KITT appeared to jump would have required far more power than any car engine could produce, and would have resulted in catastrophic damage to both car and driver upon landing. KITT didn't break physics, he just had really good stunt crews. The most impressive jumps required multiple camera angles and careful editing to create a seamless illusion, and some of the most spectacular sequences were actually composites of several different shots filmed at different times and locations. Number 4. KITT needed bodyguards. KITT got so popular that Universal Studios had to hire security guards to watch the car between takes. Fans were sneaking onto the set trying to steal pieces, hubcaps, antennas, whatever they could grab. The security situation became so serious that Universal had to implement special protocols for storing and transporting the KITT cars. Fans would hide on the studio lot overnight, trying to get close to the vehicles, and several attempted break-ins occurred at the garage where the cars were kept. The most commonly stolen items were the distinctive wheel covers, the scanner light assembly, and even pieces of the custom interior. Some fans would try to touch the cars during filming, forcing production assistants to constantly watch the vehicles whenever they were on public locations. The studio eventually had to build a secure garage facility specifically for the Knight Rider vehicles, complete with alarm systems and dedicated security personnel. During public appearances and promotional events, the cars required a full security detail, similar to what might be used for a major celebrity. Insurance costs for the vehicles were extraordinarily high, not just because of their custom modifications, but because of the constant threat of theft and vandalism. When your TV car needs its own security team, you know you've made it big. The popularity also led to a thriving black market in KITT replica parts, with some unscrupulous vendors selling fake scanner lights and other accessories to fans who wanted to modify their own Trans Ams. Number 3. KITT's dashboard was ridiculously expensive. All those blinking lights and buttons in KITT's dashboard cost serious money to build in the early 80s. When new cars cost around $7,000, KITT's interior was in a whole different league. Half those buttons didn't even do anything. They just looked cool. The custom dashboard was built by a specialized prop house and incorporated cutting-edge electronics for television production at the time. Each KITT car required its own fully functional dashboard, driving costs even higher. The LED displays, custom gauges, and computerized sound effects system represented a significant portion of each episode's budget. Many of the buttons and switches were purely decorative, installed simply to create the impression of advanced technology. The most expensive component was the voice interaction system, which required hidden speakers, microphones, and a complex wiring harness that allowed William Daniels' pre-recorded dialogue to be played back on cue during filming. The steering wheel alone cost more than many people's entire cars, featuring custom electronics and a unique design that became one of the show's most recognizable props. Meanwhile, Michael was pressing them like he was launching rockets. The dashboard's complexity created constant maintenance issues, with lights burning out, switches breaking, and electronic components failing due to the heat and vibration of filming conditions. Number 2. The semi changed every episode. Ever notice how the flag truck's interior was different every episode? One week it looked like NASA, the next week like Radio Shack had a clearance sale. They didn't care about continuity as long as KITT could make his dramatic entrances. The semi-truck interior was actually several different sets built on a soundstage with modular components that could be rearranged depending on the episode's needs. Sometimes the writers would require a medical bay, other times a sophisticated computer center, and occasionally a high-tech garage. Rather than building multiple permanent sets, the production team created a flexible system that could be quickly reconfigured. This approach saved money but created obvious continuity errors that sharp-eyed fans noticed immediately. The truck's exterior remained consistent, but the interior dimensions never quite matched up, and equipment would appear and disappear between episodes with no explanation. The most glaring inconsistency was the truck's apparent ability to transport KITT and still have room for multiple other vehicles and extensive laboratory equipment. Consistency wasn't important, but looking cool was everything. The production team prioritized creating visually impressive set pieces over maintaining logical consistency, leading to some episodes where the semi's interior appeared to be larger than a small warehouse despite being housed in a standard truck trailer. Number 1. There were fake KITTs. Not every KITT you saw was real. For crash scenes, they used junky Trans Ams painted black with duct tape holding them together. Sharp-eyed fans spotted missing scanners, busted grills, and paint falling off during explosions. The production maintained several different categories of KITT vehicles: the hero car for close-ups and dialogue scenes, stunt cars for action sequences, and crash cars for destruction scenes. The crash cars were often salvage vehicles bought from junkyards and given a quick cosmetic makeover to resemble KITT. These cars frequently had non-functioning engines, missing interior components, and body damage that was hidden by strategic camera angles. During explosive scenes, viewers could sometimes spot obvious differences: mismatched paint colors, missing or broken scanner lights, and even different wheel designs. The most obvious giveaways were in episodes where KITT appeared to be damaged. Careful observation would reveal that the damage was often pre-existing wear and tear on vehicles that were already in poor condition before filming. If you looked close, you could see KITT's indestructible armor peeling off like a cheap Halloween costume. The budget constraints meant that the production team had to be creative about making low-quality vehicles appear identical to the expensive hero cars, leading to some unintentionally comedic moments when the illusion failed. Before we wrap up, here's a bonus fact that might surprise you. Knight Rider was huge in Germany. They dubbed Michael's voice deeper and more serious, and German fans thought it made him sound way cooler than the original. KITT didn't need turbo boost over there. He had a German voice upgrade. The German dubbing process completely transformed the show's tone. The voice actor chosen for Michael Knight, Arne Elsholtz, had a more authoritative, commanding presence than Hasselhoff's original performance. This change made Michael seem more competent and professional, while KITT's German voice actor, Wolfgang Pampel, gave the car a more sophisticated, almost philosophical quality. German audiences often preferred these versions to the original American performances. The show's popularity in Germany led to extensive merchandising opportunities that were more successful there than in many other international markets. German toy companies produced KITT models that were more detailed and accurate than their American counterparts, and the show influenced German automotive design trends throughout the 1980s. There you have it, 15 secret Knight Rider facts they never told us about back in the day. Did any of these blow your mind? What did we miss? Let us know in the comments. And Hit like and subscribe for more stories about the shows we grew up with. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time.